but I'd like to introduce Taranjit, who is, an anti-racist and a trade union activist, and so she will again speak for about 6 minutes. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you, Julie, and thank you for all the speakers so far. It's really great to be last because they've covered everything, so I might be short. So my name's Taranjit, and just a little bit about myself. As a black lesbian of South Asian heritage, I have been discriminated all my life through the institutions that are supposed to have supported me, through health, immigration as a refugee coming into this country, employment, health and education. So throughout my life and continuing now in the workplace as well. And just touching upon examples of institutional racism that we've seen. I mean, just a few days ago in Portsmouth, the University of Portsmouth was found to have discriminated against a lecturer, an Indian lecturer who had been working there 5 years, went for recruitment, and a white person who had less experience was appointed. And that went to tribunal, and it was found that she had been discriminated against because of her race. And again, we can go through, we had Carol Howard a few years ago, who took the Met to Employment Tribunal, and again it was found that she had been discriminated against because she was a black and she was a woman. Subnam Chowdhury, Palm Sandhu, again the Met institutionally racist. Also remember the treatment of Viva Henry and Nicole Smallman, the way that they had been dealt with, the conduct of the police, how the police, the Met, deal with violence against black women and girls. That is institutional racism. And Child Q is just one of the many, the adultification of black and Asian children at school, the racial prejudice of how we are supposed to be adult, even though we are children, we have to behave in a certain way. So that institutional racism exists, and it was coined around Stephen Lawrence, but we know as black people that this existed well before then, but we just didn't have a name for it. We were seeing it every day when we were in our schools, when we were growing up, applying for jobs, and it still continues, whether it's my name, the way I dress, the food I eat, everything that I do. And also UK Black Pride did a report a few years ago called We Will Be Heard. And that report shone a light on the fact that black and brown LGBTQ people do not see themselves in the support services that are supposed to support them. And the other thing it raised UK Black Pride is that UK Black Pride came out of the fact they were shunned by the Pride team in London. We didn't see ourselves around that table. They didn't listen to us, they didn't hear us. So in the end, we set up ourselves. There's only a few of us that when it was set up on a beach somewhere had a gathering. And since then, look how amazing, how big it's become. So you've got to remember that even in the spaces that are supposed to have, who are discriminated against, there's still racism against them. You've got to remember that. That's, institutional racism is huge and it continues. And I think building black representation, I think most of the speakers here have touched upon organising, and it is about organising. And one of the things that I do is black networks in the workspace. And that's so important because you need that space. That space is for us to gather. We don't need to report back. We don't need to share what we do. There should be no labour on us to tell employers, white employers, what they should be doing. So black staff networks, I think, are very key. And also, I think Comrade here spoke about a lot of us getting positions as managers or in senior leadership. We become isolated because then we can't join the networks, the black networks, because that's for the workforce. And there's certain expectations as a manager or CLT. So what happens to them? We become isolated, and we tend to find that black managers or senior leaderships don't stay very long in comparison to white managers and white senior leadership because we don't have that support. There shouldn't be any compulsion on our part, on a network, to share what we discuss. That should be safe and confidential to us. It needs to have that space. And it's a space to chat about everyday racism. And black consultants, and if your workplace has got a, anti-racism consultants in, people that you recognise and you would like to. Also, we spoke about there's race charters, there's the ethnicity pay gap, holding employers to account, reviewing those. But the control and power should be in the black workers, having a safe black network. So I'm just going to finish there. Thank you.